host, Murielle, and today we are going to talk about self-confidence. You will learn, you will actually do an exercise to be able to identify what is your, let's say, most urgent block, biggest block, your first block in the way of gaining more self-confidence. And I will give you a free resource to continue the journey and go deeper to really convince your brain to go further and let that go shift. Before we start the episode, I want to let you know that I have an upcoming free masterclass about developing more self-confidence, more magnetic presence, and being able to shine your light brighter in the world. And the people that I usually work with in my class are women who are looking for love, but also people who are looking to be brighter in their professional life. A lot of entrepreneurs, and especially nowadays, we are in the era of video and audio. You have to be out there, and a lot of us have certain patterns, certain blocks holding us back to really shining our light. So those are the bulk of my students in those kind of classes. And if that's you, and if you want to really experience a session where you will practice some tools to shift at a deep brain level and at an energy level, I invite you to register. You can visit license2shine.com and you'll be able to register there for the upcoming class. If you are listening to that podcast later on, I will have regular free master classes and regular classes coming up, because this is really a subject that is so broad, shining our light, and there are so many angles to approach it from and be able to, like an artichoke, remove one leaf after another so that you can get to the juicy, beautiful heart of the matter. And as news, I also have something coming up. Actually, I already started. It's not about my business or anything like this, but I know I already have an accent. I have a French accent. On top of that, you may hear a very subtle lisp in the upcoming episodes because I am starting to wear an Invisalign. So I'm super excited, but also it's a learning process, a learning curve. I have to relearn to articulate. I was already working on that with my coach who's working with us on voice and exercises for our throat, our mouth, our tongue. So I'm gonna have to put a bigger effort into that. That's it for today. That's it for the news. I hope you had a wonderful week since our last episode. I know I did. I went hiking with my son, and that was gorgeous, and he's doing rock climbing, so I worked really hard on staying zen and not having my adrenaline go up to the roof, and I was able to do so. Let's go into today's matter now. Self-confidence. It's really a tricky subject because some people know that they are looking to develop more because they feel that their lack of self-confidence robs them from living the life that they want. Like I said, either in love, to go and really find a partner that we want, to feel that you deserve it, to feel that you are up to it, and in other ways to make yourself visible in the world. Some people are really aware of what is specifically holding them back, and others are less aware. And a third category of people, the ones who actually suffer the most from self-confidence, don't even acknowledge that they may need a boost sometime, because they are, what I see is that they are, I would call it arrogant about who they are. They think that they have it all together and they're really out there at the maximum of who they can be, usually above others. There is nothing to do with those people. I can't help them because they wouldn't even come to me or to anyone else, for the matter of fact, because they're not aware of it. But the rest of us, we know that in certain cases, and it may not be, usually it is not in all the areas of our life, thank God, that would be really painful. But in certain areas, we lose our confidence. The stress level goes up a little bit, and we're not as brilliant as what we could be, who we could be. So, what is going on with you? Are you someone who compares yourself on a regular basis? Do you find yourself comparing yourself maybe to what you see in the magazines or the women you see around you, the ones at the gym? I know I used to do that. Or if you are on an online dating site, do you look at what's out there? I know women who literally created a fake profile as a guy to just see the competition. Let me tell you, it's very dangerous to do that because it brings up all your insecurities, and those are going to come across when you put your profile online and when you interact with the people who are going to contact you. You may even create a situation where no one is contacting you at all because the fear level is too high, and that can be felt. Just today alone, I was listening again to Bruce Lipton. He's a cell biologist, and he was talking about the quantum physics and the new science with devices, like I mentioned in one of the past episodes, a magnetoencephalograph to read the vibration, that is the frequency that is emitted by our brain when we think, by our thoughts. And he was reminding us that whenever you encounter someone, when you come across someone, even if it's throughout an online connection, you are mixing some of your energy with theirs. It's called entanglement. And they will react to your stuff and you will react to their stuff. The more you're bonding with them, the more you will react at an energy level. So it's not something that's, let's say, harmless to just put an online profile when you're full of fear. It will play against you. It can be felt. So what is your habit, your negative habit in that area? Because I'm sure we all have positive ones, but today I would like to address the negative habit of thought or action that is really standing in your way from you developing more self-confidence. Do you, like I was mentioning, compare yourself right and left, and you find that you never measure up because you feel less than? Either you don't feel young enough, or you don't feel beautiful enough, or you don't feel intelligent enough, educated enough, tall enough. All kinds of enough versions that are very creatively invented by us. Or maybe you just feel that you're not at ease in your own skin, but you can't even pinpoint why. You know you're incapable, or even if you do it, you don't do it to the fullest potential. You don't make yourself visible completely because something is holding you back and you don't even know what it is. Know that this thing is actually having an impact on the way you come across in every relationship in that area of your life. So let's do an exercise so you can understand more concretely what I mean, and I can continue explaining to you how it actually rubs you from your impact on the world around you and your magnetic presence. think about what would be the worst thing that someone could say about you that would hurt you the most. A qualifier, an adjective, a personality trait that they would mention. What would it be? Let's say somebody was going on Facebook or online and putting a critique about you. Which one would be the one that would trigger the most emotional reaction in you? It may be anger, because anger is an emotional reaction to critics sometimes, or fear, or you would be shamed. You would feel so shameful. What is it? I'm going to give you a few seconds. And maybe that corresponds to what you were talking about, what I was talking about. I think I can hear your mind, guys. What I was talking about earlier, about how you compare yourself. Maybe that ties to that. Or it may be something completely different. So I hope that by now you have it. And if you don't, you can pause this audio and investigate more. So that thing, to be fully transparent, I used to have one that said that I was boring until I started working with it. And that was creating trouble every time I came publicly to teach, to do my podcast. That was at the very beginning. Or any other live session, when there are a lot of audience. Not, of course, in my coaching sessions, because there I know I'm really good as a coach. And which, by the way, guys, when you're good at something, acknowledge, because it will reinforce your self-confidence. And in my books, when we have a talent, it doesn't come from us. We come with it. We work on it and we excel at it because we work on it. But it's part of the package. So it would really be an offense to the creator, the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, to not acknowledge that beautiful thing that we were given. Some people are magnificent artists. Some people are magnificent chefs. Some people are excellent plumbers. Others are drivers. Some people drive a taxi and they make your day more beautiful because you stepped in there and you had a conversation. What is your talent? Connection? Whatever it is, acknowledge. So as I was going to say, that thing, that thought, that fear, which is under that qualifier that I was asking you to find for yourself, it is associated with a fear in you, a very strong fear that is running behind the surface, behind the curtain of your conscious mind thousands of times a day. And it robs you from being really impactful. It robs you from shining. It robs you from even feeling at ease. Because what is happening is that it is running. So whether you realize it or not, that you have this thought, this fear running, it creates a response of stress in your body. It actually activates your stress center, the amygdala part of the brain, the fight and flight center of the brain, which will send messages to your body to redirect a portion of the blood to the extremities, to your arms and your legs, because the way that our brain perceives stress, perceives a threat, is always a question of survival for our brain. It doesn't differentiate between a lion running after you to eat you and you standing on a stage ready to give a public speaking, or you getting ready to push the live button on Facebook Live, or even record your podcast. It doesn't make the difference. So it literally sends a message to your body to redirect the blood flow to your extremities, and a portion of the blood flow that was in your frontal cortex in the most recent brain that we developed as a species, the brain that is smart, the brain that is intelligent, the brain that analyzes, strategizes, the intelligent brain, the one that is resourceful, is not provided with as much blood as usual. And you literally are robbed from your full resourcefulness, from your full intelligence, from your full presence even. Because you have a part of your energy that is busy behind your conscious mind, managing that fear, making sure that nobody discovers that big secret of yours that you don't want the world to see, because it would hurt you so much. So then you go, let's say, to a date, and you're not as relaxed, you're not as at ease in your own skin, you're not as brilliant and smart and shining your own magnificence. Or you go to network, and same thing, you are not fully present there. And my secret to network is that I don't go for business. I go to connect to human beings. The same way that I always tell you, when you go to a date, forget that it is a date and remember that it's a human being you have in front of you. We all have some magnificence, and it even helps you discern the people who are not connected to that beautiful source in them, the ones who are here to take and not give, the ones who are, like we were talking last week, predators, narcissists, manipulators. When you are busy managing that fear behind the curtain, you cannot spot them as fast. You're not present. So it's really crucial to know what is your fear. And I am now going to give you a part of the solution to really start changing, start lowering the amount of emotional intensity that you react with regarding that qualifier, that word, that fear. Let's go back to mine. That was worrying. That was being boring. I don't know what's up with me today. Maybe because I couldn't drink as much coffee because I was wearing the Invisalign before. I removed it to eat now, so I can have a tea, but I'm used to have way more coffee than that. And you cannot have coffee with Invisalign. It's going to make it stain and it's going to be ugly. So I used to think I was boring. Other people may think that they are not beautiful enough. And that's going to be present in your system. So the antidote to that is to accept what is, because what you resist persists, and what you are resisting is actually borrowing a part of your energy to be managed. So accept that if we can conceive about something, if we can see it in the outside world, in other people, that means we have it too. So I had to accept that I could be boring, because sometimes I'm super serious, especially when I teach, and some people like another type of teachers. I know that when I was really trying to hide that part of myself, when I didn't fully accept it, I was listening to marketing trainings from right and left. And I was listening to, of course, I was attracted to the opposite, because I felt that I had to develop some kind of bubbliness, some kind of joy, some kind of not being, too serious, being a little bit lighter. So I was trying to conform to something that wasn't me. And first of all, that made me the unauthentic, and people can feel that. And we relate to teachers and coaches, in my case, who are authentic. If there is something that is not, something that is off on an energy level, you will feel it. So it was making me not as powerful as a teacher, as a coach. And it was, I was in fear. Every time I saw someone who was leaving, let's say I was doing a Facebook Live and I see that there is an attendant or two or three, and I see someone leaving, right away my eyes were noticing that, and I could feel my energy dropping in my body. So guess what it did to my speech? Guess what it did to the impact of what I was talking about? And if I looked really closely at the video, I'm sure it was perceivable also in my body language and on the face, on the muscles on my face. Until I decided to really fully embrace who I was and work with that. Embrace that there was a side of me that was serious and maybe boring to certain people. So the next thing I did, and what I recommend you do too, is take that thing that you're so afraid about and go find people who are successful in what you're trying to achieve despite that thing. If you think you're too old, go find people who fall in love at 70 and get married. I promise it happens. I have a friend who has a business where she's matching families with retirement homes in Israel. And she sees it every day. She's really laughing. She tells me anecdotes of visiting those retirement homes and seeing people flirting together when they're like flirting with each other when they're like 80 years old. It's really cute and hilarious. It never stops, so don't be afraid. And remember, it's not the envelope that attracts, it's something in it. And that's what I teach in my class too, to really identify with something else, not what is imposed to us by society, not what is telling us that after a certain age we can be discarded because we have no value. There are societies and there are philosophies where it's the opposite. It is revered. Revered. So find the opposite example to tell you that it is possible. In my case, I found people who were very serious in their teaching that I adored, that I really followed for years. For example, Deepak Chopra. He's not all bubbly and, like that. No, he's a serious person. He has a sense of humor too, but he's more serious. And is that person, is this teacher successful? Oh my God. I mean, come on. He's Deepak Chopra. He's known all over the world. So once you have that, your process is to really acknowledge that if they have it, you can have it too, despite your biggest fear. And once you've addressed this one, there is another way that you can really convince your brain, because the brain goes away from pain towards pleasure. That's always something that you can use to your advantage. It's a wonderful weapon. And remember, the brain is never the enemy. It's just sometimes inputted with the wrong parameters, the wrong data, the wrong job description. And the way to use that, I would like to invite you to my next Facebook Live session on facebook.com/datelikeafrenchwoman, which is my business page. I will conduct a process, which I did in 2 or 3 occasions lately in speeches and in my class. The results was amazing. I had guys who came to me after with a feedback that really blown my mind. Where somebody came to me and told me, I'm not somebody that is connecting really easily to my emotions. I'm a very concrete guy, and you made me tear up. So that's what I would like to invite you to attend. This Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on my Facebook page. And in case you are listening to that way later, you can still contact me there and I'll send you the recording, I'll send you the link. Because my mission is to really, what breaks my heart is when I see people, I coach many women, beating themselves up, stopping themselves, being mean to themselves with judgments that are so harsh. They would never do what they do to themselves to another person. They would be ashamed of doing that. But yet, they do it in the privacy of their mind, 1,000 times a day, and on repetition. And know that the more you do it, the more it is reinforced in your brain, in your pathways. And you will feel, and there is such a thing as emotional addiction. If you are in a habit of feeling powerless, you will feel more and more powerless, and you will spot the situations in the world where you're powerless. You know, I've talked about the reticular activating system before, and I've talked about the elevator of the energy elevator. You will stop at that floor on a regular basis. So it is time to do something about it, because you're way more magnificent than what you think you are. And there is a way to work on that. But it starts with acknowledging where you terrify and abuse yourself on a regular basis. Once you have that first fear, that really strong fear, you can start having compassion for yourself, first of all, because that was only what you could do until now. And put your hand on your heart as you're listening to this now. And make a promise to yourself that it stops now. And that you will take the step to do something nicer for you. And that you will respond to the duty, the divine duty, to shine your brightest light, whether it is in love, to find a love that is as magnificent as you, or to shine in your professional life, or to shine anywhere you need to shine. As a mother, as a friend, wherever you feel that you're stagnant or blocked in your life. Like I said, free resources are out there. Visit license2shine.com, register for the class. When you register for the class, it's not there yet, but in a few days, I'll have a pre-class process where you will already reinforce what you have been doing today, because you asked a powerful question. On Thursday, when you attend the Facebook Live, you will go a little bit deeper, and then a little bit deeper in that pre-masterclass, and then in the free masterclass, it's going to be an hour of processes, mainly processes, because I will explain some stuff to remind it to you, but what creates the change is not knowing. It's doing. It's feeling it, or knowing at the level of your body. That's how I call it. It's when it sinks in, when it goes from your brain to your body, to your heart, to your cells. You will feel a shift. And it's never be, and once you shifted, once you know, unless you really do your best to go back in your default mode, you cannot unknow anymore. You will have the key and you'll know. And that's all I wish for you to know and go to the next level. Because I don't know if you've heard the interview I did last week with Darcy, but I was re-listening to it, and there was a moment where she was saying that she doesn't believe that we can have self-confidence forever for life. And my answer was like, yes, of course, it's a practice. But you know what? I was reflecting on that, because based on my experience and the experience of my clients, I do not feel the way I used to feel several years ago. I do not even feel the same way I used to feel last year. I have way more stability in my self-worth, in my self-confidence. The more it goes, the more it solidifies. Because I practice, and because also we learn through pain. So the painful experiences that I had in my past were here to help me shift. And that's where we can start developing gratitude for the experience, for the person at a spiritual level, not at a human being level. That doesn't mean I want those people in my life, but I thank their divine spark, their divine essence, who accepted to come in this life to kick my butt. So when we come back to self-confidence, let's say that today you are between the ground floor and level 1, like stairs. You didn't climb that first stair. And you are oscillating, you're moving, you're fluctuating between 0 and 1. The more you're going to practice, the more you're going to be able to climb on that one. And at a certain point, that one will be solid. You won't go back to 0, and you will be fluctuating between 1 and 2. So, of course, it's a practice, and it has to be practiced. That's why it's called a practice. But it's an accumulation. It's in accounting, we call that accruing. We gather, we accrue, we accumulate, and it builds on itself. It's like doing meditation. At the beginning, it's hard, and then the minute you sit on your meditation cushion or chair, your body is already relaxing. Just by looking at it, you create an association in your mind. So same thing. You can build that. And it starts with really simple steps. You listening to that today, you already made a decision. If you listen until the end, you made a decision that you're tired of what was, that you are now making the declaration to yourself that it's over and that you're going to do whatever you have to do. And it doesn't have to be painful and hard. It's of course a practice. So it's like going to the gym. You have to go regularly. But it doesn't have to be hard. And maybe throughout the process, you will have harsh stuff that rise up to the surface. But guess what? There is a magnificent technique called tapping. And I teach tapping to you all the time. I do it in my Facebook Lives. I do it in my classes. I have an intro to tapping on my YouTube channel under Murielle. So go and take advantage of those free resources. Because if you don't, and you hear yourself saying that you want to change, you know what? Catch yourself and say, liar, liar, liar. That's not true. Because if you were really ready to change, you would take action. And it can be a joyful ride, most of it. So as always, I value your feedback. If you want to send me some comments, you can do privately. You can do it privately on my website, datelikeafrenchwoman.com. You send me an email. And you can do it more publicly on my Facebook page when you attend a Facebook Live, or any way you want on my YouTube channel if you want. I really hope that what I told you today will resonate and that you will start the momentum, that you will put the energy in motion for something where you're going to shine brighter because it becomes better and better. I'm telling you from personal experience. I have an accent and I used to be so self-conscious about it. I have some extra pounds and I used to be so self-conscious about it. I'm not anymore, and the world is reflecting to me what I now believe about myself, and I love seeing the results. So until I see you again next week, have a wonderful week. I hope to see you in a few days on my Facebook page, and if not, I surely hope to see you in my masterclass. See you next time. May you be loved and love, and know that you are at your essence love.